Sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live on this Saturday morning, ready to talk about the little bit of NBA action. We know the playoffs are getting down to the final four teams. We still got some action that's going to be played out in the East between the Cavs and the Pistons. The Pistons end up forcing a game 7 last night, so we'll talk a little bit about that. We also want to talk about the WNBA. They've got off to a pretty hot start. We got some teams. Well, really only one team that's undefeated so far, but then we got a couple of 3-1 teams and a couple of 2-1 teams in the WNBA. So we want to talk about that action as well. And then we want to talk about NCAA sports. We got women's softball championships have started. Baseball is right around the corner. So we definitely want to talk about those two sports. And then, of course, we always got to talk a little bit of college football as well, because that's a hot topic, because we're all waiting for college football season to start. So, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get into any of that, I would like to, everybody that's out there in the chat, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, make sure that you check out all the channels that's scrolling across the bottom. And we want to thank our sponsor, KT's Good Eats LLC. Our man Kevin Bird and his wife Tammy got a nice food truck where they're going to be out at Witten's Farm today, 3341 Winchester Pike, right next to Witten Farm Market, where you can get a 2-for-1. You can get some good food from KT's Good Eats, and you can get you some ice cream and a variety of other things from Witten's Farm. So go check them out today. They'll be out there all day today. KT's Good Eats will be out there from 12:30 to 4:30, and Witten's Market is open all day until 8 p.m. tonight. So go out there and check them out. Last night, the Pistons evened up the series with the Cavs 3-3 with a victory last night. They force a game 7, which will take place Sunday at 8 p.m. Who do you got winning that game? Do you think the Cavs will be able to pull that one off and go ahead and take this series? I've said numerous times that I don't want to see the Cavs be good without LeBron James, but I think I'm gonna have to take that back. Being an Ohio kid, I gotta be rooting for the Cavs to win this game. I think Harden, Mitchell, and the guys have really got to pull this one out. They should have ended this series yesterday. They should have went out there up 3-2 with the mindset that we got to close this thing out. We don't want to allow Detroit to get back in this thing and force a game 7 in Detroit. That didn't happen. So, of course, Kay Cunningham and the guys are going to be able to have a chance to close out this series in this game 7. I just hope the Cavs can pull it out, man. I mean, you really had an opportunity up 3-2 to close the door on the Pistons, but they did not do that. Much like we saw the Spurs do to the Timberwolves, they win last night. They go ahead and eliminate the Wolves, and we get the matchup that I think many of us wanted to see. OKC versus the Spurs. I think out west, we felt like this was the matchup that we all wanted to be able to see. I don't know about you, but you can tell me in the chat if that's the matchup that you wanted to see out there in the West with OKC and the Spurs. I wanted to see Wembley versus Shea. I think that's the matchup that we all want to see. And this OKC team, they have an opportunity to really go on a serious heater. They won the championship last year. They have an opportunity to win it this year, of course, because they're still in there. And I think they got a chance because they got 2 first-round picks in the NBA draft. They got an opportunity, y'all. They got an opportunity to mess around and three-peat, possibly even four-peat if they can keep the nucleus of this team together. We know they ain't going to send Shea nowhere. So I think this OKC team really has an opportunity to win back to back to back to back. Now, that's hard to do. But let's bring our man T1 in to the show. T1, how you feel about the Cavs yesterday not ending that series with the Pistons? Your Cavs, by the way. How do you feel about that? And welcome to the show. How you feeling today?
Feeling great, but not feeling great about that game. I felt like if we didn't close it out at the crib, it's gonna be bad for us in Detroit. Uh, as a non-betting man, I will put my money on Detroit, even though I'm a Cavaliers fan. I put my money on Detroit, and if the Cavs win, I'm happy. But I'm not feeling confident about going up to Detroit and getting this victory. Although we did get a victory the last time we was up there, I'm just not so confident that we could go up there and do it again with that uh, series on the line.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. I feel like Cleveland should have ended that series last night. You're on your home court. Your stars have got to go out there and end this thing. You don't want to have to go back to Detroit in a game 7 on somebody else's home court when you had an opportunity to end it on your home court. I don't know what went wrong with the Cavs last night. Maybe you had a chance to catch that game and see what went wrong. But there's no way you allow that to happen because you don't want to have to go and play a game 7 on somebody else's court when you had a chance to close it out. How well did you see Harden and Mitchell play in that game? Did they feel like they had the hearts of champion to try to close that thing out?
It's just more of a team thing and getting off to the slow starts and just not being as aggressive as Detroit. And when Detroit wins, they're extremely aggressive. They're attacking, and those three balls are falling. And that's pretty much what happened last night. Just they just wanted it more than we did.
Yeah. I mean, Cleveland won the last game in Detroit to win that game 5. Um, so maybe they can do it again in this game 7. It's going to take a great effort, but I believe that the Cleveland Cavalier players understand that they got a lot of veteran players on that team. I think they're going to go out and play hard and possibly win. Now I know I've said numerous times, and I said it earlier, that I don't want the Cavs to be good without LeBron James, but I got to take that back because I want to see the Cavs advance in this one simply because I'm an Ohio kid. So I would like to see them do that. Our man Parlay Poe said the number 1 seed for a reason. Yeah, that's why Detroit is the number 1 seed, and we all know that they were ending the season, with injuries with Cade Cunningham. They've been fighting back, and they fought through every series they've had so far. I think the last one went 7 games, or might have went 6. But they've been fighting to get back this whole entire time. So hopefully, you know, uh, 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 the Cavs can pull it out. Do you think they have a 50-50 chance, or you think it's less than 50% that the Cavs can pull this victory off
I
on
mean,
Sunday?
I definitely would put it at a 50-50 chance, with us winning that last game in Detroit. So, that shows that we can win on the road. And I'm gonna be honest, after Cleveland won that second home game, I kind of knew the series was going to 7. If you watch enough of sports and you just see how this matchup is playing out. I kind of had the feeling that it was going to go 7 once we won that second home game. And uh, man, I can tell you one thing: it's going to be a great game 7.
I definitely believe it's going to be a great game 7. Welcome to the show, Cool Guy 8956, and man, it's 410, fake 410 E7P. Welcome to the show. Also, Parlay Poe, he said if Dern's out, Allen, man,
Hold on, if
Allen,
Duran is
he
out,
gives you
what?
defensive rebound.
What
He
you
said
say,
if
bro?
Durham outplays Allen, he said if Durham outplays Allen, it's over. They need more out of Allen for the Cavs because he's just a defensive guy and a rebounding guy. But he gotta get some offensive boards and putbacks. I think for Cleveland to be able to really win this game in this game 7. What do you think about that matchup, Durham and Allen, the bigs for both teams?
I mean, that's definitely what Parlay Post said. That is definitely what gets Detroit the victories. Durn, I mean, he's a man, man. He's a man, and he's aggressive, and he's like a quiet bully. You know, he's not real loud, but he put in that work. He's like a quiet bully and like a player that you would love to have on your team. And we don't have that type of player. And when I see teams like Detroit that has those type of gritty, solid, strong, aggressive players down there around the basket, it just takes your team to another level.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's switch over to the Spurs defeated the Timberwolves yesterday, and they go into a matchup with OKC and the Spurs. Was that the matchup that you wanted to see out of the West, or did you want to see two other teams, or maybe a combination of one with somebody else?
Say that one more time. My phone, it went out, bro.
The Spurs advanced. They beat the Timberwolves yesterday, and they advanced to play OKC in the Western Conference Finals. What do you think about that matchup between the OKC and the Spurs? And is that the two you wanted to see matched up in the Western Conference Finals?
Oh, absolutely. These are the two young guns of the NBA. These are the teams. These are the two teams, and I'm upset that they're both in the West. But these are the two teams that will elevate the NBA to the next level. And as you stated earlier, it's looking really, really good for OKC as far as repeating and just the future. But San Antonio really, really came on this year, and they have some young guns out there too, and they play with a lot of aggression and a lot of heart, kind of just like OKC. So this right here is the series, and some people may even call this a finals type of matchup.
Yeah, I think when you look at all the NBA teams, you could definitely see this as really the NBA Finals matchup because I don't think there's probably two better teams in the NBA than OKC and the Spurs. Now I think Detroit has something to say about that, but we'll have to wait and see on that because they got a matchup Sunday against those Cavs. Parlay Pope mentioned something in the chat the other day that I thought was pretty interesting. He stated that the last 7 NBA MVPs have been players from overseas or from another country than the United States. Do you think that the United States will get another MVP anytime soon? The way we see the
And
way these players from other countries are playing ball.
I don't, you know, I don't know, but I also kind of claim Canada. So we taking Shay. You know what I mean? I kind of claim Canada, but what'd you say?
You said we taking Shea.
Yeah, we taking Shay. Even I'm pulling some Donald Trump right here. Like we're gonna claim him. You know, we're gonna claim him. We're gonna take him, and he looked like us. So we're not calling him a foreigner or somebody that's from overseas. He just right uptown and upstate. So we taking all of that. We claiming that. But with Wembley out here, Shea still out here. The Joker still out here. I mean, I'm Luca out here. The Greek Freak. I'm not sure what Americans are next in line for MVP. So I'm not sure about that. I think they may continue to run.
Yeah, it's Man, I think they're gonna continue to run too, man. I just don't know if players like Edwards and a couple of those other guys are even ready to, to seize the moment. I mean, they're really good players, but I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get a MVP anytime soon from the United States. Now, if we claim the Shea, then yeah, we're gonna probably get one.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
claiming Shea. They can't just get Shea.
so they just can't get Shea.
Nah, they can't just get him, man. He from Canada, and he look like us. He don't look like Steve Nash.
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting because I think before I think Elijah won it, and then of course Steve Nash won it a few times he did. But outside of that, those two, it was really an American-born players MVP. They was winning it hands down every year. You didn't know if Bird or Magic was going to win it, and then when the game down to it, you knew Jordan was going to win his share. Uh, so you just knew it was going to be that way. Let's welcome our man Parlay Poe to the show. How you feeling this morning, Parlay Poe?
Man, I'm good. I can't complain. Ain't nobody gonna listen to me. How y'all fellas doing?
Great,
Doing
what it
good.
do, parlay?
We definitely want to get your take on that Cavs and Pistons game yesterday and what you think the outcome is going to be in game 7. And then we talked about, you mentioned in the fact that the last 7 MVPs in the NBA have been players from other countries. We want to get your take on that one as well.
Well, the Cavs, I ain't gonna say they dropped the ball, but they need more help than just Harden and Mitchell. Like Allen, the big guy, and Mobley. Mobley was like what 2 years ago, all world. Where Mobley at? He supposed to be the X factor. That's why I understand. But if Dorn, like I said, if Dorn outplay Allen, the series gonna be over because the skill position players they cancel each other out. Like Cade and Mitchell, they cancel each other out, and then Tobias even playing better. You know what I mean? Then they got the Sore Thomas. They putting him on hard now, so it's gonna be a different game. Game 7.
Yeah,
Agree
yeah.
with you, Poe.
Let's get your thoughts on the OKC and Spurs series too. Before you give us your thoughts on the last 7 MVPs being from another country.
Yeah, this the series we've been waiting for. Like Wembley, he gonna be matched up against Holmgren, but they got similar games. Both of them can shoot the three, but think about Wembley more active around that basket than Holmgren. But this Shea, Castle, all these skilled players right there, this about to be a dandy, man. This must see TV right here. Just like T1 said, this supposed to be the finals right now. This gonna
Yeah,
Yeah,
be a
this is.
dandy.
I ain't missing that. I ain't missing none of them games. I done missed a game or two here and there. But not in my Cavs, but with OKC and San An. But I'm now. I think the NBA is good. Like during the season, you can get some times and some stretches where you don't care nothing about nobody other than your team. It just ain't that exciting. It's exciting now.
Yeah, yeah. I think what's name messed up the series, man. KD not playing this year uh, in the series, and the Lakers not being at full strength with Luca. They think Luca's first year, a couple years there with him and LeBron and AR-15 that they could have made a go at it because their last couple games they played well together before the injury to Luca and AR, and they was getting their legs up under them. So I thought the Lakers had a nice little push going until these guys got hurt. So the West, when them guys got hurt and KD didn't play, so it was on schedule for OKC and the Spurs to meet right now where they are.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you though. It would have been nice to see a full strength Laker team and a full strength Houston team, not just KD, but Van Pelt out there as well.
Yeah,
But I think he was out for the whole entire season. So, it would have been nice to see those teams at full strength and we get some more competitive games, out of those two teams. But I think the NBA had some really really good playoff games, and I'm very interested to see the Detroit, not Detroit, but the New York and Detroit or Cleveland matchup as well, but mainly New York and Detroit because I don't know if Cleveland can do anything different than they did last year if they match up with New York. I think New York is playing at a pretty high level right now as well, and I could see a New York or even a Detroit banging with OKC.
Yeah, I got two questions for you. Then I'm gonna go to Mossberg's question that he has in the chat, and I think one of the questions I'm going to ask is in relation to one of the questions that he has as well. First off, is the situation with LeBron James. What should the Lakers do, and should they part ways with him and Bronny?
mm,
Should they
mm.
part ways with who?
LeBron and Bronny.
I mean, I think so, but you know what? I don't think that Bronny has been playing real bad. And then when you look at him as compared to the players who were drafted around him, whether that be before him or after him, I've seen some growth with Bronny. So I don't think that Bronny is any longer just like a throw-in player in LeBron's son. I'm not saying that he did, a super great job, but when he was down there in that D League, I mean, he was dominating, and not like some of them other players down there. He was dominating. So, but as far as LeBron, yeah, I would say it's time to go ahead and let Luka and Reeves see what they can do with that team. LeBron needs to, unfortunately, come on back home to Cleveland, do his last year world tour, get him all of his praise from all of the arenas, and go ahead and get ready for the next chapter of his life.
See, I don't know, man. Can you depend on Luca? Can you depend on Luca? You know what I mean? Like, uh, Ron, the oldest dude on that team, and when he get little injuries, he bounced back. Luca did what? This Luca's second year in a row being out like this. I'm saying, can you depend on Luca to run the Lakers team? I know the Bucks family is thinking about that right now too. Even though LeBron at the tail end, but he's still putting up numbers, putting people in the seat, whatever. They just need Luca healthy. So I'm like, he making 54 million this year. If he come back, right?
Yeah.
I know he better not give him a pay cut. He better not give them a pay. They billionaires. Don't get them a pay cut, LeBron. He better not. But I'm saying I don't think Bronny a pro for real. I seen that when he played against they was playing against one team and he couldn't bring the ball up. They ripped him 2 times in a row. And dude wasn't even starter. Dude was on the bench for the other team, but they had it was such a blowout. They both had the second stringers in, and Bronny couldn't get the ball up the court. I don't think he's well, I ain't gonna say a pro. I don't think he's a 1 right now. He probably can be a 2 or something, but his height. But I would get rid of Bronny, but I would still keep LeBron if I was the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna ask this too, Poe. Was Dallas smart? Were they smart when we looked at it? Like, how could you give up Luca? But was Dallas smart enough to say that Luca's not going to stay healthy? And if we have an opportunity, since they had some type of backdoor agreement, and I guess Dallas said if we have the opportunity to get a younger #1 pick in Cooper Flag and swap him out for Luca, we're going to do that all day because we know we got a young athlete that's going to be around here for a while, and we're just not so sure if Luka can stay healthy back-to-back seasons.
Okay. Well, he said post game said LeBron a free agent. Okay. Well, ooh. So y'all gonna let him? So Lakers gonna let him walk for nothing then?
Yeah,
If
they can't get nothing. He can go. That's why I say it's like, and we know this upcoming season is his last season. So, wherever you going to go, Miami, Cleveland, New York, wherever you going to go for your farewell tour, go ahead and get it started. And,
one
time
thing
to
I
go.
know he ain't going back to. I know he ain't going to Miami. I didn't hear. I had heard stories about him in Miami. They said he was clashing against the culture of Miami. He said Miami is ran straight, trying to be strict, but they said LeBron was so much of a star that he was clashing with these guys. Spoelstra got. I'm talking about his. It's time for him to go for real. I think. You know what I mean? I think Spoelstra, it's time for him to go, but he's not going back to Miami. I can see Cleveland, but I don't know if he mixed well with Harden being so ball dominant. But I know he could play with Mitchell, but I don't know about that Harden.
Yeah,
Hey, I think too, one thing too about Miami, like Miami is a city who isn't starstruck. They're not starstruck. I mean, they don't care as much as, these other cities to where, if you're in Cleveland or if you're in Minnesota or OKC or somewhere, everybody's starstruck by you walking around. Miami could care less. They see stars every day. It's just, to them, stars are just regular people. And I think Brian might not like that. He wants to be worshipped wherever he goes, and that's not the culture in Miami. They're not starstruck by anybody. Stars are always there.
yeah. Mossberg want to know what's your thoughts on Kevin Durant? Do y'all think he was hurt, or he was just, just wasn't giving it all his all?
He was hurt. He was too hurt. You gotta understand that tall 7-foot frame. If there's something wrong with that knee, you're not going to be able to move the way that you're used to moving. And then KD elevates on his jump shot. So, yeah, you can't do nothing but go out there and hurt yourself even more. So, yes, he was hurt.
Well, if he was hurt, even if he was hurt, it's still messing with his legacy, man. They gonna say that they gonna say something about KD anyway. This go all the way back from when he up 3-1 and still lose to Golden State. Then with Golden State, he never won the championship without that Golden State team, and him carrying the team. We know he don't do well with that anyway. So even if he was hurt, it's still gonna mess with his legacy.
Yeah, my thing about the whole situation with KD, man, and I love KD as a player, and I feel like I would not have allowed, if I'm KD, I would not have allowed the team to announce that I'm not playing before game time. I would have at least fake like I'm gonna give it a go and get out there and warm up or something, and then say, man, I just can't do it. Something, but I ain't letting them tell them I ain't playing ahead of time, man. The hell with that. Because I don't want nobody looking at and having a question like we having now. Was he really hurt? I just felt like I would have gave it a go. We look at Willis Reed and some of these guys who have played hurt, and maybe they damaged for life because of that now, but I still would at least attempt it or something, man.
I mean, he did. He would warm up. He would warm up and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know, man. That's good to know because I just felt like, maybe you should at least make an appearance like you're going to go out there. And if you can't go, you can't go. But at least make the attempt.
Yeah, he did the shoot around just to try to see if he can get it and go, but he just couldn't get it and go. He just didn't feel confident with running up and down that court, you know. So yeah, he did give it a go though. He didn't they didn't just shut him down. He went out there with his warm up on and took his shots, moving up and down the court, and when that's why I just say about Father Time and everything. And Durant's been out here for a minute, and when that body say you ain't gonna be able to do this when you gotta sit out.
So with that Kevin Durant situation, we got Hawks AATL 678. He says KD's situation is a mess. He is still playing games. Do I really want a teammate like that on my team? Would you want Kevin Durant on your team, even if it is a situation where he's playing games?
Yeah, I'm like, see, he I think he's saying he playing games like he playing, not basketball games. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, yeah, so yeah, I'm saying KD is a good player, man. But I'm saying, far as me, if I was another star, if I was Van Fleet and Van Fleet can't play all year, but if I was Van Fleet and Kevin Durant was playing like that, I wouldn't want him on my team. But yeah, I don't know about a KD, man. He signed a 2-year extension with the Rockets for $90 million, so he still got 1 more year left.
Wow. Okay.
Man, I'm gonna say this: if Van Fleet was out there and KD was out there and KD was healthy, everybody would be speaking an entirely different tune. You can't think that one player is gonna move a team. You need multiple players to be out there. KD still can shoot with the best of them. KD still can score with the best of them. And if you give him that point guard out there like Van Fleet, you get even more out of a KD because they have somebody out there that the team has to focus on as well. With the way that team was this year without Van Fleet, they could focus more on KD on the defensive end and trying to stop him from taking over these games. So I can't give now. KD is he funny on the internet and all that? He is. Do he play too much on the internet? He probably do. But when he out there on that court, and if you put him out there with the players, you're gonna get some good results. And KD still has something in the tank, although he's getting injured. I love to have him in Cleveland. I love to have him in Cleveland, and I think that most people would love to have him on this team because he's gonna get buckets. You just don't know now at the end of his career if he's gonna be healthy and available come playoff time.
Yeah. Another question I have for y'all, man. Since we mentioned the fact that the OKC and the Spurs series is probably going to be the best of any, it's almost like have it be in the finals. Do you think the NBA will ever look at that situation and say to themselves, let's not do a East versus West, let's like match this thing up, much like you see in college sports?
No, I don't think they'll do that. They can't do that. It's been like this for the end of time. You know what I mean? Started basketball. So I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah, I don't think neither basketball or the NFL will go and just open it up and take away the Eastern and the Western Conference champions. I don't see it happening. Yeah, we talk about it. I think it's just great conversation for sports talk. I don't ever see it happening because I mean, if you want to win it all, get out of your division. Go win your division. Go win your conference, rather. So
Yeah. The reason why I asked that, man, is because I think over the last couple of years, we've seen some competition in the playoffs. Like last year, when you look at the NFL, when you look at that Seattle Seahawks and that Rams game, that seemed like the Super Bowl matchup. And the year that Michigan won it, that Michigan and Alabama game, that game seemed like it was the freaking national championship game. The way it all played out, because Michigan went on to blow out freaking Washington, and the Rams, I mean, they just dogged the Patriots last year. And in other sports, you've seen it as well. I just was wondering if maybe they even thought like that to try to set it to where they compare the two best teams, put them on separate sides, and then see if they could possibly meet at the end, as opposed to at some point in the playoffs. Let's turn our attentions to the WNBA. Their season started off. The Dream is 2-0. The Aces are 3-1. The Liberty's 3-1, and the Suns are 0-4. Do you think the WNBA is going to look at this next season once it ends and find a way to get better players on those teams that are finished towards the bottom, outside of giving them a high draft pick?
I'm saying,
go ahead, Paul.
But I'm saying, how would they get better instead of, the high draft pick is they trying to get them better. You know what I mean? A high draft pick is trying to get them better. It's like if these girls gel, these girls gel together or being coached right, But most of these, the young girls in here, they balling. AJ hit 45 last night or something. Yeah, so I'm like, it's if they gel or not. Like, I don't know how you can get them better without giving them the number one pick. Like, how else can you get them better?
I mean, you're just gonna have to hope that these young players can come in and be stars, because you have to remember that the WNBA is expanding next year as well. So, will the rich stay rich, and will those bottom feeders and mid level teams, will they just stay there because there's just not going to be enough talent on these teams to overpower these teams who have multiple stars out there and a superstar?
Yeah, I know they have 15 teams now. Are they expanding to what, 18 maybe?
Yeah.
And then that'll give them an odd number on in terms of if they have them in conferences. Would that put them at an odd number, 9-9, or do you think they're going to just go to 16 and have 8-8?
Yeah, we're gonna see.
Yeah. I agree, Parlay Paul. I mean, if you give them the number one draft pick because they were the worst team in the league, then that's the only way you can help them. I guess you just gotta hope that if you compile enough really good picks, that eventually over time they'll get the experience and then they'll become a much better team than what they were the previous year or few years. So hopefully that'll be the case, because it seems like right now, and I think the Aces is where Asia Wilson plays, right? And she had dropped 45 yesterday. She's the one everybody's chasing right now. So hopefully, these teams can pick it up and try to dethrone her at some point.
See, what if we get to the point? We have a super team? If like a good free agent want to go play with Asia, what if we get to that point? You know what I mean? Like I take less for a championship and I want to play with Asia. You know what I mean? What if that start happening?
I don't think the W wants that to happen, because then that's like really, really, really going to water down their product, and they need to have multiple teams good. The W can't afford to have power teams like they try to put together in the NBA. They can't afford that. I think that will, upset a whole lot of cities when they know that their team just doesn't have a chance, because they put this ultimate team together, and they're going to win it year in and year out. So I don't think that the W can afford to create a power team. And with the females, fighting for that bigger contract and now getting that bigger contract, they can't afford for players to say, I'm going to take less money. They need to keep demanding more and more and more of this profit that they're bringing in.
Yeah, let's look at Anthony Manzano 3551's question. He says, guys, can you see the W trying another team in Miami, or because the last one failed, they're not going to do that again? What do y'all
Hey,
think about
that's what I was just saying, though. Miami has a culture, they don't care about you being famous. You know what I mean? And then especially if you're not winning, they're not going. There's so much stuff to do in Miami. If you're not a winner, they're not going. They don't go and just sell out the arena just because there's nothing else to do in the city, or just because, we just love our team. If you're not winning in Miami, you're not filling up those seats. So, I'm not so sure how the W would work in Miami again.
Yeah, just like you said, I don't think so. I think the Dub is they can't have too many major teams. They have to have a major basketball team, and then probably the Dub or someone. The Dub here. Bring the Dub here to Columbus.
Right. Right.
Bring the Dub to the Columbus.
Yeah, not the big cities, because you really, really have to love women's basketball. And that's what I'm just saying. Like, you take a city like Miami, they don't really, really love women's basketball.
Yeah, Anthony's in agreement with y'all on that, about the fact that there's so much to do in Miami that if you're not winning, then they ain't coming to watch you. They gonna go find something else to do. And he said, perfect example. If this is the Hurricane games, the only time they sold out was against Notre Dame, Ohio State, Georgia, or Alabama. It's just so much to do in Miami that, hey man, if you ain't got something, if you ain't winning, then ain't nobody coming to watch you play. But I would like to see them come to a smaller market where they don't have as much competition. And I think that even though we got the Blue Jackets and things like that, people go to Blue Jacket games, people go to Clipper games, people go to the soccer games. They will definitely, I believe, support a women's WNBA team here, or it may be even in Cincinnati as well. Even though we know they got one, I think, in Cleveland, or
Yeah,
there's one in Cleveland.
it's Cleveland. But they should have bought that baby to the bus, man. Girls basketball is exploding in the state of Ohio, and it's getting even bigger in Columbus. But they should have bought that baby to the bus, because I believe that the city would have got excited for Asia and Caitlin and all of these ladies that are elevated to W. The city would have got excited to see those players out there. So it would have been nice, but it's cool having the Rockers back in Cleveland as well.
Yeah, definitely. Let me ask y'all this. Y'all weren't on the show on Tuesday, no, on Thursday. But as we all know, every conference is in agreement that they want to go to 24 teams, because December 1st, they got to make a decision whether to stay at 12 or to increase. And every other conference except for the SEC, they want to go to 24. They're in agreement to go to 24. They want to go to 24. Do you think they'll increase, or do you think they'll just stay at 12 again for the next year in 2027?
You already know, right? You already know. So they done brought out talking about 2014 for the college football playoffs.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not that crazy then, right?
No, you're not that crazy. No.
Yeah. So you already know what my answer is on that. Absolutely. And I think that if you're going to say 24, I still need that top top 25, and I need a play-in game just like the NBA, because like I said, we've had the top 25 for as long as we've been born. You know, they come out with these top 25 rankings, so let's reward every single team that's in the top 25. I mean, it only makes sense to me, and it can be done. It's already a professional sport now. This is no longer amateur sports. So if you have to play 16, 17 games in order to reach the pinnacle and bring home that natty, you're getting paid for it. It is what it is. That's my
Oh,
take on it.
no, my bad, Parlay. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, they getting paid for it now. So eventually this was going to happen. Um, yeah, man, it's professional sport, like you said. So SEC going to have to come on in. If this all about the money, they got to pay the NIL. So the school can help out with the NIL now. So they fill up these stadiums, that's more money for them. You know, so they're going to have the CFB like 24 teams.
Yeah, because the commissioners in the the commissioner in the ACC and in the Big 12, well, you know, the Big 10 commissioner kicked it off first. He the one who said we need to go to 24. And then the other two conferences are in agreement. Of course, the only one that's holding out right now is the SEC. But I think the SEC will end up going along with it if they can get a guarantee that they can probably get 6 freaking automatic bids to get in from the SEC, and they will probably want the same for the Big Ten. And so they'll probably try to team up with the Big Ten and say, "Hey, listen, if they guarantee we can both get 6 apiece, then yeah, we'll go ahead and go with that 24." But I think it's going to end up at 24 at some point in time. I just don't know how they're going to adjust with these bowl games, how they're going to do the calendar, how they're going to do the regular season. But I think 24 is probably almost inevitable that it's going to happen at some point in time. Our man Anthony Manzato wants to know, do y'all, because he's talking about the SEC, but I think we're going to put the Big Ten in this as well. If you're in the Big Ten, would you like to see a combination of Miami and Florida State, Miami and Clemson, or Florida State and Clemson, or Florida State and Clemson? What combination would you want to see come to your league if you can only get 2 of those 3 teams? Which 2 or 3? 2 would you want out of those 3 in the Big Ten? Let me unmute you real quick.
Yeah, I would like mine, but you got to think, them hot weather states, man, they ain't trying to come up to Wisconsin in November, though. You know what I mean? They ain't trying to come to Michigan in November or even Ohio State. But I'm saying, like, I wouldn't mind having Clemson and Miami. You know what I mean? Florida State, they on the decline, so I don't think I would have Florida State on my in the Big Ten.
I would take Kentucky and Missouri. Keep them some Midwestern teams. I'll take Kentucky and Missouri.
Well, you know they ain't leaving the SEC, but we're talking about just those 3, combination of those 3. That's Anthony Manzato's question.
I would take Florida State and Clemson in the Big Ten. I would love it. I would love it, but I'll tell you right now, both of those teams, as you see, both of those teams would take a decline by joining such a powerful conference. They'd be in trouble.
Do you think they would be in trouble?
Yeah, because I'm saying you couldn't get out the fact of them having to come to the Midwest to play a game in November or December. You can't get away from that. I see they spoiled UCLA and USC for the first couple years, but now these guys gonna have to start coming to play when it's cold out here. So I don't know if them Southern teams want to do that.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. I think that anytime you have teams that are, and especially if they decide they're going to go to this super conference stuff, it's going to be difficult for a team that's down south because you're going to have to come up north. And on some seasons, you might get 3 games in the cold as opposed to 2. Once you hit November, you might have 2 home games and 2 road games, but you might have a season where the way the schedule falls, you might have to travel up north to the Midwest 3 times. And we've seen that on, well, you're going to probably see that on some of the scheduling because it's just going to be inevitable. At some point in time, you're going to have to fall into that kind of prediction. So I think that'll be a tough thing for anybody down south to have to do. So that's probably not going to be the case. They're probably going to want to stay down south and probably join the SEC. And being an SEC guy by default, since Texas joined the SEC, I would rather have Clemson in Miami. But I don't know if Florida's going to like that, and I don't know if South Carolina's going to like that. So, that may never happen. That may never happen. Let me see what else we got out there in the chat. I'm gonna tell you right now, Anthony Manzano, if anybody gets North Carolina, it's gonna be the SEC because they're gonna want them for basketball reasons. They're gonna want them for basketball reasons for sure. Now, the other names you're mentioning, Pitt, Virginia, some of them they can probably go and play in the Big Ten because they get some bad weather there too. So they will probably be okay with that. What do y'all think about those other teams that he mentioned from the ACC possibly joining the Big Ten? Because I think at some point it's going to be 2 super conferences.
Yeah, just like you said, some of these ACC teams is like basketball schools, and you'll want them for basketball because they do bring in their revenue for basketball, especially the Duke and North Carolina. Well, Duke's starting to show promise in football too, though. But for that aspect, you would want them for the basketball, and then like even if they good in other sports like the baseball and stuff, but joining that Big Ten for the football and stuff, I don't know.
Hey, I take Duke or North Carolina in the Big Ten. I take them over Clemson and Florida State.
Yeah, do y'all think that if they were to go to 2 super conferences that they would do this thing regionally and based on the fact that you got weather situations and you don't want to have teams traveling all the way to the West Coast from the Midwest and teams from the West Coast traveling to the Midwest? Do you think they would make these 2 super conferences regional?
Well, we already have the hot UCLA's and USC's gotta travel and come to the Big Ten. So we've already done it. It's already done. So now that landscape is pretty much out. When we took those West Coast teams and put them into the Big Ten, that just says that we can go grab somebody from anywhere, whether it be Florida or Texas. It don't matter now. It's just, are you willing to come over here in the Big Ten and get this money? Because the Big Ten pays out a whole lot more money than everybody. We pay. No, I'm just saying, our schools get a whole lot of money. Our schools get, them payouts at the end of the season and all of that money we bring in from the bowl games. That's why these schools came to the Big Ten, because our television contracts and the money that we get from bowl revenue, those schools are collecting $100 and something million a year, or whatever it might be, and that's very enticing for these universities.
Yeah, that's true. Let's tackle this question because I heard this too, Anthony Manzano, that because Texas joined the SEC, Texas A&M wants to get out and join the Big Ten. What's your thoughts on that? Let's go first with Parlay Pro. What's your thought on that one?
I ain't heard that.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, that's been out there.
Yeah, so hey, we'll welcome Texas A&M. And they got all that money. Hey, we'll show them this work. They come up here and think they running stuff. We'll show them they can come and get this work. They definitely come and get this work.
What you think, T1?
Would love it. Would love it. You know, I love how the Big Ten is everywhere. So we just need to get down south now. We got the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest. So once we get those down south, we get some down south teams up here in the Big Ten. I mean, the money is just gonna get even bigger, you know, because that's just a whole nother market. And you know, we almost, like I said, we almost got the whole United States. So all we need is we need to bring a few of those down south teams in, and we conference USA.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that Texas A&M definitely wants to get out of the SEC because Texas, and that's why they left the Big 12 because they want to get up out of Texas shadow, I guess. I know SEC Sean don't want to believe that, but I mean that's the case. I think Texas A&M it'll take them a while before they start to really get good in that Big Ten. Um, but I think it will be a good move for them simply because at that point, since we got so many players from the state of Texas that go to the Big Ten, they will be able to sort of persuade them teams. Listen, you're going to be playing against Big Ten teams already, so you might as well stay here at Texas A&M because you're going to get to play the likes of Ohio State and Michigan anyway. So you might as well stay here as opposed to going there. So they will probably try to use that as leverage if they were to join the Big Ten, much like they used the SEC as leverage over Texas when they went to the SEC because the SEC was playing way better football than the Big 12 was. So I could definitely see Texas A&M using that um, as leverage if they could get into the Big 10. I got one more question for y'all.
Hey, hold on, Rob. Hold on,
Go ahead.
Rob. Is Texas stalking A&M because A&M left, went to the SEC, like you said, they trying to get away from Texas. Like, no, we don't want to be in the conference with you. Now then, Texas then came over to the SEC. So I could see A&M because from the outside looking in, I'm not an SEC guy. I don't know much about down south, but it looked like Texas won't let A&M get away. Like, no, wherever y'all going, we going. So it looked like a little bit of harassment. So it'd be great to get A&M up in the Big Ten and get them away from Texas finally, because Texas ain't gonna follow them to the Big Ten. They know they don't want no parts of this smoke.
Yeah. Well, Texas realized that the reality was they were not able to get the kind of recruits that they needed to get nationally and even in the state of Texas because they played in the Big 12. Players who want to get to the NFL, that's every one of their goals that are really, really good football players, their goal was to get to the NFL. So the best way for them to do that was to either go to the Big Ten or the SEC. So Texas had to go ahead and follow suit and try to get in the SEC. Even remember there was talk about them going to the Pac-12 at one time too, but that wasn't going to benefit Texas to go to the Pac-12. Only thing that was going to benefit Texas was going to be to either go to the Big Ten or the SEC. Moving to the ACC would have been closer to a lateral move. So they did that because they wanted to be able to start getting some better recruits and improving their brand because, as we all noticed, Texas was down for a long time because they weren't able to get the kind of recruits that they needed to be competitive until Steve Sarkisian got there. And the news that Texas was going to the SEC had come out. So that's the reason why they're in the SEC. They probably would have chose to go to the Big Ten too, but they would have had to come and play in some cold weather. So you had to choose between the two: warm weather and stay in and go to the SEC, or go play in some cold weather in the Big Ten. And I think we all agree that Texas would rather be in a warmer area since they're from a warm state. Let's end this last question with the 2014 playoffs and the fact that if the SEC and the Big Ten get 6 automatic qualifiers, does that mean now that you got to give at least 4 to the ACC and the Big 12? Or because right now it's the top 12 teams automatically get in, and the next 13 are at-large bids, just depending on where they fall between 13 and 24. So what's your thoughts on that? Should it be a breakdown to where conferences get automatic bids, or should it be the way it is now? Top 12 get in, and then the 13 to 24 is just depending on how the committee sees them.
Top 25, man. Whatever that top 25. If you got 7, 8 Big Ten teams or SEC teams, it is what it is. It's who's in that top 25. If you only have 3 from your conference, it is what it is, or 4 or even 2. It is what it is. Give me the top 25. Ain't nothing automatic. It's just whoever in that top 25.
Oh, my bad, Parlay. Let me unmute you. What you think on that?
Yeah, I agree with T1 with that. The top 25, because you got to think, what if 6 or more Big Ten teams and SEC is in the top 25? So they don't get to get in? So just the automatic 6 get in?
Well,
What if it's like...
If they fall in that 13 to 24, then they got an opportunity to get in too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What if it's like 6 or 7, like if they fall from if they rank 18 or 19, they Big Ten teams or SEC teams. You know what I mean? Like they get into it'd be a better game than you seeing somebody else that just creeped up in the top 25. It'd be a better game for a Big Ten team or something. And there'd be more money too. Because we know these small schools, they ain't faring well when it comes to these bowl championship games.
Yeah, I believe that it should be whoever the top. If you're going to go with 24, whoever the committee says the top 24 teams, let that be the 24 teams that get in. I don't think it should be broken down to, okay, you in the SEC, you automatically get your top 6 teams get in. Big Ten, your top 6 teams get in. I don't think it should be that way either. I think whoever the committee think is the top 24 teams in college football at the end, then those 24 should get in. Now, if this does happen and they go to 24, then that means conference championships will probably dissolve and we won't have conference championships anymore. How do y'all feel about conference championships going away?
Cool with it.
You cool with it?
I'm cool with it. We get the top 25. I'm cool with it. If you got a tie for the conference championship, you just got to tie. You just got to split it. Get ready for the playoff.
What you think, Parlay?
Yeah, I agree too. Because I'm saying there ain't no use to playing an extra game if somebody get hurt in that championship game and you need them. So let me ask y'all a question. What would you do for all the other little bowl games then?
Well, I think they're probably going to take those bowl games, and the bowl games will end up being those games from play between teams 9 through 24. They will become most of those smaller bowls, and then once you get those games ironed out, because the top 8 are going to get a bye, and so once those what's 9 through 24 play, then you get down to 16, and then you can start using those major bowls for those games. But I think those 8 games from 9 through 24, those games will be the smaller bowl games. Well, not them little bowls, little bowls, no, but like the ones who don't get the nod for the conference championship game. Like you know how they rotate. Those will probably
Hey,
be
but
the
they got
ones when they, you know, how when they rotate those bowls like the cotton, the sugar, the fiesta, the rose, orange bowl, and then I think it's one more. I think it's 6 of them total. They will probably those games probably won't come into effect until after it gets to the final 8 games. Or, yeah, 16 teams. Yeah.
Hey, but I think I love the home games, but they have to give those home games to the top, to the top four, the top eight. They need the home games. They need to bring in some of that revenue. And I like that being an advantage. I hate that the top four didn't get home games, but those bottom feeders in a CFP were able to get home games, and the top four was left out without those home games. And you see how it also hurt them once they got to playing in the playoffs. So I think they have to keep those home games. There are some electric environments, at that time of the year. And, now you also can bring in the element of football into it. If, someone has to travel up north, which is something that we have been wanting forever in college football. So they have to keep those home games, but this time it has to be an advantage for those top teams.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. That's interesting. But we can talk some more about that on some upcoming episodes. But I appreciate y'all for making it out today. Thank you, Anthony Manzato, for all of your comments and your questions. Hopefully, you can catch us again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Our man One Take Zaya should be hosting that show. So hopefully y'all can join us then. But we're gonna get out of here for today. I appreciate y'all joining. Let's have a good rest of our Saturday, and I'll be talking to y'all soon.
Y'all know the deal. We was in the building. Now we up out of here. Peace. I love y'all, fellas.
Love you
Hey,
too,
you too,
bro.
bro. All right, y'all be safe.